What's up, everybody? This is Emmanuel live at South by Southwest EDU, and I have one of the presenters here, and I would love for you guys to meet her.
Hi, I'm Samantha Asante-Bio. I am a senior designer at the Reinvention Lab at Teach for America, and I led a session, a workshop called Interest to Action in 90 minutes.
I feel like South by Southwest EDU has been like, I'm hearing a lot of focus on purpose and doing things that are meaningful and fulfilling. And that leads me to my question. I was wondering, how students can identify hobbies that could evolve into a future career. There's a lot of conversations going on around purpose and stuff like that, but how can someone say, oh, like, I love drawing or I love build like Legos?
Yeah.
How can that make that connection?
Yeah, so that's the crux of what we do right now. I lead a program called Future Shock, and it's a 2-week summer program for young folks, primarily high school students, and we're doing just that. We're helping them identify their interest, figure out how they can connect that to a live action, or in our case, a project, and then thinking about how that skill and the learnings that they're doing connect to a future career. Because we believe that we're really designing for a future that doesn't exist yet. So like my job didn't exist 5 years ago. I'm sure a lot of folks can say that. And so we don't want young folks to be thinking about how what they like can connect to a career pathway, but instead thinking about what they like now and how it's relevant to them in this moment, so that when they are 25 and a new field or new job emerges, they're already in tune with who they are and what they're looking for and can use that as their compass instead of what they think they're supposed to be doing.
Gotcha. What's your perspective on like something a little more natural, more organic then? Because like when you said what they're supposed to be doing, that just like is triggering because it's like, you know what I mean? My background, my mom was like doctor, lawyer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's getting young folks comfortable with figuring out how to like really tapping into what they truly care about, because also your interests drive your motivation in a space and drives your engagement in a space. So we're asking young folks to like sit in a classroom and love school and pursue college or pursue certain pathways when they can't figure out its relevance to them. And so it starts with like square one of figuring out what they care about, and then our job as the people around them is to help make the connections to what they, some of those hurdles they kind of have to jump over, like high school, but then also like how they might take that and lean in on it instead of trying to go down a pathway that's been predetermined. Like it's kind of the entrepreneurial approach to existence, really. It's like entrepreneurs are really designing things and building things that help them create their own path, and that's what we want all young folks to be doing.
Right, like giving them a little more agency.
Exactly.
Can you speak to the parents out there that are watching that may be plugged into what we're doing about maybe like just tips and tricks or things they could think about if they want to like help guide their kids naturally in the same way like that you just mentioned?
Yeah, I think one of the things is obviously if you see an interest emerge for the young person in your life, foster it in the best way possible. So like it could be as simple as like, oh, your son loves soccer. I know my son loves soccer. Like put them into their soccer camps, but also take that and translate it for them, right? So if they're struggling with math, help them figure out like that answer to that math equation with goal kicks, right? Like translate it to them in their everyday lives, because the more that they're able to connect what they love to the things that are very practical, the more natural that becomes for them. It's a practiced and learned experience over time. And really it's like, we're trying to teach the skills of self-determination and agency, as you mentioned earlier. And so just fostering that whenever possible. So like, you can't always connect soccer to every problem, right? But what you can do is say like, okay, you seem to have a very strong opinion on X, Y, Z. How might you approach this? And put the power and the agency in the child's hands, and then let them determine what steps they need to be taking, and then just serve as more of a facilitator and guide versus telling our young folks what they need to be doing and how they need to be doing it. Because like they're smarter than us. They're living in a world that we didn't even have. Right?
You know, many students are struggling to connect with what they enjoy doing now to a possible career path. I know you touched about that a little bit here, but let's just focus in on like strategies or tools like AI or design thinking that can help bridge that gap, like even just help tame some kind of fears around it, because it's here, it's nothing we can do to stop it, it's already here.
Yeah, I think about AI as you would any resource. Like, why would we still handwrite papers when we have computers to type them, right? And so it's about thinking about it as a resource rather than this I think for a lot of parents in particular, but a lot of adults, it's like we struggled with like social media era of like how do we control what our children are exposed to? How do we prevent like exposure through YouTube? And there was always this fear around a new emerging technology because of that. That we've now applied that same logic model across all technology. But like you wouldn't write your paper on pen and paper if you want to be able to spell check it later, right? So it's just about thinking about AI as a tool.
Yeah.
I use it in all my work,
Yeah.
and sometimes in ways that you wouldn't think of. And sometimes it looks like being able to help me generate new creative ideas when I'm blocked. Sometimes it looks like fact checking something and being like, where's this resource coming from? But it saves me so much time in my work, but I still have to be a discerning thinker. I still have to be, you have to have the critical thinking skill. You have to know what you're looking for. You have to know how to use the tool. So there's still a really deep level of skill that's involved in leveraging our resources. You wouldn't tell somebody that they're inept as a professor because they learn to use their resources around them. Like you would celebrate them for that, right? And so it's just thinking about it, it's reframing our thinking about it. It's just like any other resource that we have at our disposal, and you're actually setting yourself up for failure if you're not learning to leverage those tools.
Yeah, especially with what's to come down the pipeline. I'm thinking about workforce development, all these things, and as things start to speed up and things start to happen faster than sooner than later.
Yeah.
We kind of have to be prepared. If I was a student right now, like AI, what could a student do now to even maybe practice or just be like, let me take this for a test drive. Let me try to understand this a little bit as it applies to their path.
Yeah, so something that we actually have young folks do is there's a system that's called Play Lab AI that allows educators are primarily using it, but it allows folks to build their own chat models and chat bots within the system, and it's open source. And so we use a tool called Project Launcher that helps our young folks take the thing that they're interested in and generate potential projects and ideas from that. And I just actually did my workshop was focused on this, and we just did this with adults, and they were like, oh, now I use this to help me think of a podcast I wanted to create and then design the next steps I have to put into that. And so start with something that's meaningful to you, that feels less grandiose. Like you don't have to engage with AI that's like helping you write papers, right? Because that can feel really scary to some people. Like think about other ways you can leverage it and own it. Like that is the best possible way to get used to a piece of technology or to get more comfortable with it. Just own the tech. That's why Play Lab AI is so cool, because you can say, well, actually, I want to understand this thing better, and I don't really know if there's an AI tool for that. Then build your own, but it's very user-friendly in that way. So you always feel a little bit better when you know how the sauce is made.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Knowing how the sauce is made is key. iphillygoestocollege.org. We lay a lot of emphasis on career exploration, giving students like examples. Hey, look at this, what this person's doing. With the interviews we do, we engage with folks to say, hey, this is how I got here. What advice would you have for students who want to experiment with different career ideas before committing to a specific path?
I think what you all are doing is something that's really, really fundamental to how we should be pursuing our interests. Coffee chats, get to know people. It's through storytelling is how we understand what's really out there for us. Like, I know when I was in high school, I thought there was only a few kinds of jobs that existed because it was the kinds of people I was interacting with. But when you go into the workforce and you're looking for a job, what do? You hit up people on LinkedIn, you network, and then you ask them to have coffee with you so you can learn about what they've done to get there. And I don't think that should only apply to career professionals. I think young folks, they don't know what they don't know, right? Like none of us do. And so I think through that pursuit of storytelling and understanding, that's the best possible way. And it doesn't have to be as scary as like messaging people on LinkedIn. You could also just go to local bookstores, go to local agencies, and kind of just speak to people that when you're hanging out there, places you like to be. Because if you like to be there, the chances are the people working there, the people who own those businesses, are probably people you want to get to know.
Yeah, that's a fact. You mentioned entrepreneurship earlier. That kind of brings me to this. What role do personal projects and side hustles play in shaping a student's career journey? How can these students showcase these experiences when applying to colleges or jobs?
Yeah, I think that there is something that's been really clear in the generations that have emerged since millennial, there is a side hustle culture, and a lot of that came to be with putting our phones in our pockets. A lot of it came to be through social media and making those side hustles a little bit easier and more accessible. And I think that those things should be celebrated because it shows. I mean, I don't know about you, but it takes a lot of work to edit and cut videos. It takes a lot of work, at least for me, to be able to like think creatively about what you're going to be doing and building. And so I think with young folks, as they're thinking about how all of these different things that they're doing might lead them to a central career path, one that doesn't have to. Like you can keep that up. Like I'm somebody who likes to be busy, and a lot of folks like that multi-stimulation. But if you're looking for like a central career path and you're trying to figure out how you can showcase those things in college applications or in job applications, focus on the skills that you needed to do that work, right? So you didn't just run a lemonade stand, right? You had to plan for space. You had to learn how to purchase materials and like meet supplier or meet consumer demand, right? You had to learn a certain level of like financial profit and return, and like those are the things you highlight. You're like, I ran a lemonade stand, but no, these are the skills you actually had to bring to the table. And I think that's what young folks should be focused on, is like, what are you actually getting out of that? Sometimes that can be hard to see. That's where AI might be helpful, right? Like run that through AI and say, what skills did I need to do this, and let that help you.
Yeah, like a prompt that says, hey, based on these skills or based on these interests, what was what's out there that can be of interest to me, or what should I try to apply for?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're gonna round it out with some quick fire questions.
Okay.
First question is, where did you go to college?
I went to undergrad at NYU, and I got my master's at Harvard.
Where my dad went to NYU.
It's a great school.
And what was your major?
I majored in applied psychology.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what made you choose applied psychology?
I actually thought I was going to talk about traditional career paths. I thought I was going to be a child clinical psychologist since the age of 12. And then I changed my mind like my senior year of college. So while I have an applied psych degree, I did not go into that field. I actually went into education. And I felt I had a lot of experiences, internships, different research placements that made me realize like I didn't want to treat the symptoms of a problem. I wanted to get to the root of the problem, and I felt like education gave me the better field for that.
Wow, that's going to be my next question. Like, how did you even, bridge that gap? Like, how did you go like education then to psychology? So so that was perfect. What's your favorite college memory?
So actually, my favorite college memory was on multiple occasions I camped out for SNL tickets, and one of the 3 times we did get in, and so I got to see SNL, which was pretty great. I can't imagine sleeping on the street for 3 days now, but at the time it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
The last question to you is, if you could say one thing to your high school self, what would that be?
Oh, less pressure. Because I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up, I felt like there was a very clear set of steps I had to take to get there. And I'm a type A personality, and I was somebody who struggled with anxiety. And so it just put a lot on my younger self. Not that none of it mattered, but a lot of it didn't matter. And things will always work out the way they're meant to. So I think that's something I wish I could have conveyed better to my younger self. Now, I do know there was probably a lot of adults that did tell me that I didn't listen to. So hopefully I listened to myself.
Yeah. All right, that's it. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
I appreciate you.